Hi all, Ted Simpson here with a voiceover sped up video. Little explanation about this one here today as I'm putting in my sky and my water. I did a video here and it was like over an hour and a half long, practicing a painting for a live painting event last week. So here is this nice sped up version. I know it's a short video for you guys here today. I wasn't able to record sound on the video either, so I was looking at an hour and a half of voiceover that I just wasn't able to do this morning. So here we go. Lots and lots of fluffy clouds on a phthalo blue sky, fluffing them up and building it out one step at a time. See, this is so much faster for me. Wow. So, covering up some of this clouds that I made here with my big mountain range, several peaks happening. Following an example painting I saw of Bob, one of the ones from the books. So a more detailed, fancy version than the 26-minute version he can get done on the show. This one here, clearly he spent more time with, and same as me. But look at this monster mountain here with all these little peaks in the front. But the idea is there's a ridge style that I'm putting on right now off in the back. A little bit of highlight, a little bit of shadow. And here we are. We're going to start playing back and forth here, working highlight and shadow, back and forth, building out these different angles and creating all sorts of peaks and ridges as we work our way down towards the horizon. Lots of playing back and forth. And that's where you can get a little more detail. Now I decided at the last minute here we need another peak. Look at that. Now if you count the number of times I switch back and forth between highlight and shadow, you can see here it's a little different than a standard three peak mountain, you know? This gives you a bit more control and a bit more detail when you keep playing the two sides against each other here. Building one side out, building the shadow side, building the highlight, building the shadow. Some of these peaks contact and merge and mix at the end here. It just gives me that sense of that blanket of snow getting ready to melt. You know, it's all kind of sliding down the mountain a little bit. At least that's how I feel. Create a little mist and fog now. Now, what I'm going to be doing here, it's hard to tell. I think I'm in Benny Hill mode here. We're going to be putting on a couple of layers of our foothills by tapping the brush. A little bit of the mountain mix color with a touch of white in it. And I blend from the top down and immediately add a second one. And putting in a ton of little treetops there. Clean up my water. And we're ready to move into the next layer of detail. Overlapping these foothills are our close-up trees here. Little more detail to them. And run through and just tap in. Lots of tapping just to fill in, make it all nice and dark there. And if I'm not mistaken, all that tapping creates some texture there. If you just lift up on the brush and just go across them, it flattens them out. And then I cut off the bottom, turn it into reflection. Ooh, there we go. Now working our way forward, we're going to add a little bit of land. do that just by pulling some of that paint that was already in my brush. It's just the background of our grass. Now I loaded up my fan brush here and I'm tapping. These are not swipes and wipes. Doing lots and lots of little taps, getting that color off, and look how flat that grass is. Velvety almost. I know with that high speed going on, it looks like I'm wiping, but no, those are all little individual taps. I clean up the bottom edge, I take a very, very small roll of the Van Dyke Brown, and then a very, very small roll of a lighter color, almost white, for my waterline there. It's okay if your white is a little dirty. That's why I said almost white. And as soon as we bring a tree down lower into the water, boom, we've got ourselves a new layer. And then swiping and wiping my brush, I could build out some land under there if I want, as much or as little. Almost looks like a little hill, doesn't it? It's all determined by the angle that you pull that color at. Get a little indication of a trunk, and then I think we're about ready to highlight the trees. Lots of taps here and there. I think I knew when I wasn't under the gun of a full form video. As soon as I determined I wasn't going to be able to have audio here, I immediately started taking my time and going over it in great detail. Lots of paint on the 1-inch brush, dropping in a couple of bushes. Let's add a little land at the base and a little shadow, or I'm sorry, reflection of the trees into the water. Even a little highlight reflected in the water. And now, this time with the 1-inch brush, I'll be doing some tapping of the grass. Tap, 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 tap. Little highlight you saw getting put onto the dark brown earth there, and little water line. Ooh, little dead tree. Is it dead? Well, it's dead right now. A little bit of Van Dyke Brown as a base, a little bit of the dark sienna and white as a highlight, putting in some little branches here and there. I think I just raised that tree up. Add a little foliage there, some needles. Mountain mix as a base, highlighted green, yellow as a highlight. And then kaboom! Really, really bringing out a nice detailed tree to be in the extreme foreground. Using very small rolls of dark sienna and white, I start highlighting this tree, the bark, moving my brush as I'm touching the canvas. Just a touch of that blue for a shadow side. And we got to make a couple of big old dead branches coming off. I could have highlighted those too, put branches and all sorts of stuff. I figured that would cover up the mountain a little bit more than I wanted to. So a little bit of that mountain mix color with a little bit of green in it gives me my shadow. And then a really, really heavy load of highlight on my brush gives me those super textured and lacy bushes. Wipe on some dark color, and then knife on a path there. A little bit of highlight, See, it's all about the angle. Got to pull that knife flat for it to look like flat ground. Couple of bushes left to highlight in the front, and we've got ourselves a finished painting. This one here was, like I said, about an hour and a half, condensed down to just under 10 minutes. I hope you guys enjoy. Take care.